Go
right,
ahead,
go ahead.
Max. I mean, go ahead,
All
go Maximus Popimus.
I'm here.
Okay,
I can hold it.
So we're starting a second early because we're having a conversation right now about how I was on Star Wars Santa's show, right? Love you, Star Wars Santa. But I did this spoiler article about how the Partisans are in Star Wars Kenobi, right? And Santa's like, this is a little clickbaity. And then I was just like, well, what's Santa Claus on about? Right. So then I go, and then I'm like watching the show today, and Santa's like talking about the Partisans with Meg, right? And then they're all there's different, these are different Partisans. I'm like, Santa, there's only one group of Partisans. There's not like the New York Partisans and now Saw Gerrera, and then as Maximus Popimus was saying, there's the Brooklyn Boys.
You got the Bayside Queens Partisans. Yeah. Then you got the Park Slope are the hooligans.
No, I just like how Santa Claus accused you of being clickbait. Like his whole slogan is Merry Christmas, and he don't even know Jesus Christ.
All right. Oh yeah, this is the Making Star Wars show. It isn't.
MakingStarWars.com.
No, Santa, like Santa was totally cool for the record. I just thought it was funny, so I wanted to make it a thing on the show. So wait, I thought it was Saw's group, and then others who didn't follow Saw. No, there's only the Partisans, but everybody signed up. It's like, why did you enlist in the military? You know what I mean? Did you do it to help the world, to help people?
I tried to go to college, Santa College.
That's a school. Okay, so up front, here we go. This is our opening of the show. This Star Wars character killed billions. Who is it? Does anybody know?
It's Kurtz.
That's baby Mon Mothma.
Baby Mon Mothma is a war hero.
No, it's a lie.
It's a lie.
Fake news.
Death Star was an inside job.
Yeah,
it was a false flag operation by Mon Mothma.
She was part of the Staten Island Partisan Boys.
Nah.
Look, Grogu's a gay frog. You know, we all know this.
No, so if you read Peter Cushing's I think it's his autobiography. I didn't read it. I just heard about this. But his mother wanted a daughter and dressed him up as a girl for the first couple of years of his life, I guess. So that's Grand Moff Tarkin right there. Killer.
Look, I don't believe it, because that character is wearing shoes, and we all know Peter Cushing doesn't wear any shoes on the set of Star Wars.
Yeah, he wore slippers the whole time.
No shoes.
Yeah,
no shoes. You think if they had Uggs in the 70s, Peter Cushing would have worn Uggs? He would have.
No, I think he would have wore Crocs. He would have definitely wore Crocs on the set.
They had jelly shoes. No, I think that's before his time. Or after
I think just like 10 years later, he's a hippie in the 70s, and he's just not wearing shoes at all. He has his dirty ass fucking feet putting streaks all over the Death Star.
Yeah, he's got like
Wolverine. You're thinking of Lyndon
toenails.
B. Johnson, Jason. That's Lyndon Johnson.
No, Santa, it's not shameful. It's hilarious. It's okay. It's totally funny.
I always knew you were clickbait, dude. Always.
Well, no. When he said it, like he wasn't like he's like, this is a little clickbaity or something like that. And I was like, why would he think it's clickbaity? I'm like, literally, like Saw's group is in this. There is the connection. I was just like, what? Okay, whatever, Santa Claus. And then he was like, oh, they're different groups. No, but sorry, it was probably me not being like clear enough in that article that they're going to become.
That's a connection to Rogue One, because 9 out of fucking 10 Star Wars fans, average Star Wars fans, only know Saw Gerrera from Rogue One.
Yeah,
that's it. Like that. I'm telling you, like I get all you people who've been stuck with Star Wars when I quit.
He's
right?
doing this. That means you better.
Well, like even in Clone Wars, like the Saw Gerrera arcs in the Clone Wars are not super memorable to me. And I guess that's a personal opinion, but it's like even somebody who does know the Clone Wars, like when I hear Saw Gerrera, I immediately think of Rogue One. I don't think of like the first time I saw him in a cartoon. You know what I mean?
Hey,
yeah, I mean, ask, look, I read Catalyst. I love Catalyst. I still forget he's in that book, even though he's directly, I mean, leads to that. I mean, the whole ending, them getting, the opening of Rogue One is directly tied to Saw's, involvement in that story. So like, but it's not click. I just find it hilarious. It's like every holiday, Easter Bunny's got an Easter Bunny. Halloween's got Santa's got Christmas.
On Easter Bunny. He talks so much shit on the Easter Bunny. Star Wars Easter Bunny, that gets him going, dude.
Like if I tried to change it to Sanimus, I don't know. It's just funny, man. That's what I love about the show is you can get Santa Claus going. I mean, Satan. And, Revenge
that's what
Guy.
I do love like on Monday mornings I get to wake up, hang out with Santa Claus, then I come over and then I got Star Wars Satan in the chat. It's a whole thing of characters. I was gonna ask Mike, who's that team that Dave Filoni's all into that does the black and gold characters like Savage and stuff? Is that the Steelers? Are those the colors?
Yeah, he's he's Pittsburgh Penguins. He's a hockey fan.
It's a Pittsburgh. Okay.
He loves Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. He's like, I mean, he's born in like I'm like born and raised Queens. He's like born and raised Pittsburgh.
Because I don't follow sports. I don't know anything about anything. And I was thinking the other day, one of my random shower thoughts.
Yeah.
It's Saw's sister Steela. Is her name Steela after the Steelers? That's what came to my mind.
Maybe he's also a Steelers fan based on like the identification of the colors, and then he just picked the Steelers because I don't even know. Does that like the Eagles is Philadelphia close to? Oh no, Pittsburgh Steelers. What am I saying? See, I don't know sports either. I just know hockey. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought maybe if anybody knew, you would know more than me. So that's why
I just know hockey. I only know hockey. That's it.
Okay. That's fair. Hey, it's the Talking Sith. Chopper could definitely be the beginning of a droid uprising. Yeah, that's true. I'd be up for it. All right. So, anyways, Santa. I hope Santa knows that we're joking. That he doesn't really need to hang his head in shame because I love Santa.
The little red caps right over his face with the ball.
Baymax says, I kind of want to see Tarkin in an Imperial uniform with that wig on. I mean, it's kind of cute, Okay, so
they did the same thing to Bruce Lee. You know that his parents, like, they wanted a daughter or something, or they had to hide his sexual identity for whatever reason.
Yeah,
so they had to. Yeah, they did the same thing. It's on the History of on Fire podcast, covers that pretty well.
You see it a lot.
An endorsement from Bruce Lee's daughter on that one, in case you're wondering.
No, it's like I don't know if it's just super common in general, so we hear about it through famous people, and then that's where you get the association. But like, you hear it with like serial killers too, and famous people. So I'm like, it either makes me, I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but it's like half of them or some of them became killers, and some of them just became actors and played killers. So it just goes to show that one thing doesn't make you evil. One thing doesn't turn you into anything like bizarre. But I've listened to too much last podcast on the left to know. Like right now, I'm listening to one right now about that very topic. But anyways, we got a Darth Vader story. What are you kidding me right now?
See what?
Darth Vader's here on the show. Come here, Darth Vader. Sit on Daddy's lap.
Clickbaity. That's the character who killed billions. Yeah. That's the one that killed the billions right there.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen's in the ward residence on a Friday, everybody.
All right. So, how you doing, Darth Vader? You can talk in the mic, Darth Vader. Oh, you're a strong silent type, huh?
I take it back. James Earl Jones sounds youthful.
Look at that crew cut.
right?
Mike, I stand that the Padawan should have had that full buzz cut, not the not the halfway Chia Pet thing.
So I'm just gonna throw it out there that I love the prequels, but unless you are a beautiful Natalie Portman playing an exotic space queen, your hair looks stupid. Every single haircut in the prequels is stupid.
In the prequels?
Yeah. There is no good.
Okay,
if you're not a beautiful woman, you have stupid hair.
Well, hold on. Qui-Gon had that like late 80s metal thing going on.
Qui-Gon looks like he's maybe ready to like teach your mom yoga, bang her, and then break up with her. That's what Qui-Gon looks like in that movie.
Even Yaddle had stupid hair.
Whoa. I said beautiful women have good hair in the prequels. And that goes for Yaddle because she's a beautiful green queen. The green queen of the screen is what I call her. The green queen of the screen.
Yeah, I mean, even Palps had like a perm going on. Like Palps's perm was like out there, right? Like,
oh yeah, dude. It was like a lion's made of might.
Yeah.
I mean, it kicks ass, but it's still pretty stupid. So yeah, it's like they were going for that costume drama thing, and men don't generally fare too well in costume dramas, you know. And as Left Coast Graphics nails, Mace Windu had the best hair.
Damn right. Damn straight.
Still does. So here we go. The show is titled Obi-Wan Kenobi, and with good reason, because it's about, well, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Granted, it's not the most inventive title ever, but it's short and to the point. Plus, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the character, not the show, is not only a Star Wars OG, but the cloaked wonder is also of the ultimate face of the is also one of the ultimate faces of the franchise. Even if that face changed from Alec Guinness original recipe to Ewan McGregor extra crispy. Do they know about that spoiler from yesterday? Because he gets cooked in the arm. I wonder. So the Disney Plus series could have stopped right there, but it didn't, because not only is the character of Obi-Wan coming back, obvious, but we will also be treated to the return of his friend turned foe, Darth Vader. Is that true? Is that you?
Are you coming back?
All right, you're back. The decision to include the Dark Lord of the Sith did not come lightly. As Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy told EW in our exclusive cover story, the debate around whether we should do that or not carried on for quite some time. Everybody within our creative team has strong opinions, and all of our fans have strong opinions. So when you realize that you're under the level of scrutiny, certainly a story point like that is going to be scrutinized at a very high level. We talked about it constantly. So Kathleen's like on the pot. She's like, oh, what do you guys think about Darth Vader? Oh, you think we should do it? Oh, hold on, double flushing. Yeah, so Darth Vader, are we doing that shit? Or what do you say, Frank? And Frank's like, Kathy, we're on speaker. She's like, yeah, I know. Tell Bobby.
Hold on, Kathy. Hold on. I'm making the Jurassic Park. Hold on. Holding. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, anyways, we talked to Obi-Wan Kenobi director Deborah Chow to get her take on why they ultimately chose to bring back the former Anakin Skywalker.
She's like,
what kind of Darth Vader can we expect to see, and what happened when Hayden Christensen showed up on set for the first time in black armor? So bringing back Hayden Christensen, and that right there, that is something that came about not until production, actually pre-production hit. You know, that's when they start casting and stuff. But Darth Vader was in every version of this. So I'm not sure if they're trying to sell the idea that the current iteration is what introduced Darth Vader, but if that's the case, then that's a misdirect. That's not true. And the Darth Maul stuff, like I've said before, never, ever was true. That's always been bullshit. Unfortunately, as cool as it may have sounded to some. So anyways, so But Hayden, obviously, them talking to Hayden, they wouldn't talk to Hayden until they were ready to go into production. They in a big way, because you really don't. I don't think you necessarily even need him for this. Like, if he didn't want to do it, they would just do it. They would just be like,
He's
okay,
not in Rogue One.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
It would have just been more Rogue One than what we're getting. But thankfully they are, and I think that at the I'm guessing, like the flashback scene that we've talked about, where they flash back to the dojo, I'm guessing like scenes like that were probably came to fruition once Hayden was aboard, is my guess. So Deborah says, honestly, for me, the starting place was that I really wanted to do something that was character based and character driven, because that is the benefit of the limited series, is that you have more time to sort of tell a real character story. And so for me, the starting place of character is you just start and you look at who has been important to him in his life. And it's quite hard to avoid Anakin Vader in that scenario, especially coming out of Revenge of the Sith. So really, it came out of the evolution of the character for me. It wasn't just to sort of bring him back. It was really like, who means something and where are we at this point in the timeline with Vader? So that right there, I think, is really important to Deborah Chow's desire to use Darth Vader and how she was going to use him. But once again, he was always there. He was there before Deborah Chow had the job. He had Vader had the gig first. So anyways, who was it? How was it working with Hayden Christensen? And then she says, he's lovely, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of just, we're all a family bullshit. What's it like when Darth Vader first showed up on set? I mean, honestly, dude, it's kind of cool when you came in here like a few minutes ago, but I mean, I got over it pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like, it was neat, but I mean, I wouldn't write about it in EW. You know what I mean? Is that okay? I'm just being honest with you like that. Okay. Yeah. So obviously Hayden was going to be part of the series. When he first came on set for us, it definitely had a very special feeling. And it was a really interesting moment for me because you started to see the different generations and how they connect to Star Wars and the franchise. Where you have a generation that grew up with the prequels first and with Hayden, it's a totally different thing for them than a generation that grew up with the originals. And there's younger generations with the new ones. So it felt real special to bring him back. And obviously I'm Canadian and he's a Canadian. So that's also a very heartwarming thing for me. We were having some Canadian pride that day. So basically what we're going to hear is we're going to have a lot of sorry. Where is our Canadian buddy today? All right. So what was the feeling for you working with the iconic character? McGregor told me he couldn't figure out why everyone on set was so excited. And this stuff is all a little bit like have you guys seen that like news story that they're pushing around everywhere, like even in the trades? Ewan McGregor uses the Force when he goes to the grocery store.
Yeah, it's like bullshit PR.
Yeah, it's like give me a break, man. You were in Train Spotting. You were renting. You live next door to Oasis. Okay? You don't have to be that Disney guy, Ewan McGregor, because you're not. I could see right through it. That just screams a BS PR to me.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be adorable if Ewan did that? Ewan, can you just do that one time so we could say you did it? And then he does it. But yeah. So anyways, mostly a fluff piece, not really anything like interesting to garner from it. The one thing I will say about Darth Vader that I haven't really put into like an article that I know that they worked out in a pretty rad way is that we see Darth Vader, everybody knows he's in that tank. Well, after we're like introduced to him in that way, when we finally get back to him, we see him as just like that nub that's like put back together by robots. Like we're gonna see that in the series.
It's officially the term is it's a yub nub.
I just wonder if we're mostly getting Hayden in the flashback and then in that as a nub, like full armor, like physicality. Would he even do it? Can I ask him? He's right there.
Yeah. What do you think, man? Are you happy about being a nub? I mean, do you feel weird being shown on screen without your arms and legs. Yeah.
See, when you said the helmet was cracked, it's actually just gonna be a half helmet, so we can see Hayden's hair the rest of the series.
And he has like a ponytail that hangs out of the crack, and it's just like
it's the opposite of Boba Fett, where they take the mask so you can see the face. They just have half the helmet now, so you can see Hayden's hair. So.
And he goes, "I want to rule with fierceness."
And that half mask thing, I just feel is it rehashed because of Rebels? Like
No.
we've seen it already. Like
no, you have, and I have. No one else has.
True.
Normal people are never going to see that. They might see like a featured image on YouTube on accident.
Right.
But
we're not normal.
No, that's the thing is like we got to like look at live action and contextualize it,
mainstream it.
I mean, and it's even like remember the big ship maneuver from the end of Heir to the Empire, like the big Thrawn, the
Thrawn maneuver that everyone still talks about.
That got stolen and put into the first arcs of the Clone Wars. And I would not be surprised if we see it get stolen from there and to there, like because nobody cares, and because if you don't see it in live action, it matters less. And then if it goes like live action, animation, comic books, text, and I just think that's like the realistic way of looking at this. Even, but for hardcore Star Wars fans, is it a rehash? Well, I think hardcore Star Wars fans are going to be gushing about that kind of thing no matter what anyways. So I think it becomes a win-win for them. A win-win.
They're so weird. You Clone Wars fans are so weird because all I ever hear is they want to see shit from the cartoon, and then when it ends up in a show or a movie that's from the that was done in the cartoon, they go cartoon. Like
you think they're weird? I mean, the Legends fans are. If you think they're weird, the Legends fans are like the most eccentric thing on the planet. Like it's the same thing, Rob. Like
what do you mean, like Legends fans? Like, do you think that they're active people going, "We got to have the courtship of Princess Leia"? Like, I don't think so. Like,
well, they'll say that they're not following true canon when we do live action that's going in a different direction, and then when they do add elements into it, they don't forget about crying. They literally boycott like the earth, like the ground that they have to walk on. So it's a little more. They're the extreme. They're the Saw Gerrera extremists over like the Clone Wars guys.
Saw Gerrera. Saw Gerrera.
Sal. Oh, please help me on Jeddah. This sand is awful.
which partisans?
Now I'm sounding like Mike Tyson.
Which partisans?
I'm with the fun partisans.
Oh, Darth Vader's back. I'll bring my shoes.
Hey, Mike, you're part of the Partisans. They're the ones that like to have fun, right?
Oh, I'm the Partisans, like Chris Pontius in the Jack Boys.
Yeah. Saw Partisans.
I promised my friend Josh that I would ask a question to you specialists.
The talking Sith, Josh?
Yeah. Hey. He's like, Jason, is Vader Mohel? Foreskin. Mohel. Is he in Obi-Wan? I don't know who that is.
Mohel?
Yeah, and then he sent me a Wikipedia.
Is that Superman's uncle? Jor-El's brother?
I don't know. He sent me a Wikipedia link. It says a Mohel is a Jewish trained in the practice of Brit Milah, the covenant of circumcision. I guess it's a joke.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a play on an old joke.
Yeah, that one was a little bit above my comedy level, but I'll take.
Force. I guess it's a play on the Force kin.
The Force kin from yesterday.
Kin of the Force.
Yeah.
I guess. Thanks, Josh. Thank you for that.
Josh.
Don't say I never. Yeah.
Josh, we have to have Josh on the show, so when he does that, we can be like, "What are you doing, Josh? Serious right now?"
I like how he has you derail with his weird takes. Like, send in the droid to ask my stupid questions.
That's me.
I'll take the fall. You're on a great move with the Saw thing, and then we got derailed with. I don't even know what the fuck he was asking.
I mean, Jason knew. He knows I'm a derailer. He wouldn't have invited me on if I wasn't allowed to derail someone.
Oh yeah, no, this show is not allowed to. If this show was ever on the rails, that's when it sells out. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I am trying to get an article up here. My twin sister, Bespin Bulletin, I mean, if you people don't know this, Bespin Bulletin's me, and I'm Bespin Bulletin. There was somebody on Star Wars Leaks who was like, I think that's just Jason, like under a secret name. And he's like, I'm from Wales. I have a podcast for several years. You can hear I am not American. But that is honestly, when I said that, I was lying.
Everything's a fucking conspiracy now, right? Like, it's not really. I don't think the Nintendo Switch is real. It's fake. It's just been a PSP this whole fucking time. Like, I can't fucking stand it. It's so stupid, dude. Like, Bespin's been on camera, right? Like, I mean, he's
smart.
So is he typing in while you're talking in your hands? Like, do we have to?
It's real.
He has a podcast.
Real.
I mean, so some British guy covers for you on another podcast. I don't fucking know, man. Like, it's so weird. I'm not real. This is I'm fake. I'm digital. Like,
X-Wing says Lord Vader. Lord is calling you.
Your presence is requested.
Oh, you got that bootleg Facebook, Grogu, huh?
That's from Etsy. That's from Etsy. From a profound.
No, it was on Facebook going around everywhere. They were doing those.
No. My friend actually makes these. She made.
She's the one doing it.
Yeah, she made this one, and she made one each for the kids and sent them to them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but for some reason it gave it to me right now. All right, come over here, Darth Vader, if you want to hang out still. All right, so we got some Grammar Rodeo stuff from Bespin Bulletin. Oh, you bloody savages! I have the chat open for everyone today. Can you guys like the video? That would be rad. If you could like the video on the YouTube.com machine. Okay. So this is about Grammar Rodeo. The series is just a few short months away from the start of filming. But I've been informed, me or Bespin, more the same.
When you read this, you're just feeling the
giving myself away.
The conspiracies.
Yeah. I'm from Wales. I'm very fancy. But
you gotta say it like Christian Bale. I'm from Wales. Like you gotta say it like Christian.
This is a series.
Batman.
I gotta hide my
identity.
Right
fucking dog. Like, so sorry, your kid's on there. My bad.
No, you can't hear. This is a series of short film months away from filming, but I've been informed and can now exclusively reveal that the show has been in pre-production for.
You're gonna do the whole thing like that now.
Yeah, forever. The show's in pre-production for a small number of weeks at a studio in Culver City, California, where sets are being prepared ahead of the June start. The series is also due to film at Manhattan Beach Studios, where The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi all filmed, primarily for their respective series, and houses a volume. Houses a volume. That sounds like a really fun kids book about Star Wars pre-production. Houses a volume. Despite pre-production in Culver City beginning, Lucasfilm has yet to confirm to acknowledge the existence of Grammar Rodeo at this time. However, I am of the belief that the series could be announced on May 4th at Star Wars Celebration. And then something that everybody should know, the code name Grammar Rodeo is likely it's more than it for sure is. I mean, I know he's just covering his base, but it totally is. It's likely a reference to an episode of The Simpsons. In the episode titled Bart on the Road, Bart and some of the other children trick their parents into letting them take a trip, with the kids telling the parents that they're going to the National Grammar Rodeo. So I kind of wish it was called National Grammar Rodeo. That would be more fun to say every time. Can we just say that every time now? So Mandalorian's still filming. And then he goes on to say that he reported some stuff or something. Okay. So yeah. So Grammar Rodeo is in the old pre-production right now in Culver City. Culver City. That makes a lot of sense. You know, it's definitely
a smaller studio, right? Like that because I've been there. I did a tour. I mean, I don't know if they built on like since then. It was about 10 years ago, but that's like a smaller studio.
Well, what is the studio? I mean, in Culver City, I mean, it's for all I know, it's a meat packing facility that they just rented out and they set up giant blue screens. You know what I mean? Like the studio or a studio over here, like for Long Beach, is just a bunch of screens. It's not, it's weird.
So when I
wait a minute, how did I type that?
Bespin Bulletins, you're linked up. You've got
this is a real Andy Kaufman thing right now. What's his name? You know, the guy, the insult comic guy that he was, the guy.
Yeah. What was his alter ego? It was Andy Kaufman and
Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton, right?
Yeah. So this is a real Tony. Who is Tony Clifton? Who is Bespin Bulletin?
Who are you?
Play coy that we're not the same person, Bestman. Come on, everybody knows I am you and you are me. You are me.
I like Jason. How can I fucking hate Bestman Bulletin? So why?
That's the duality of man. The duality of man.
I mean, everyone knows people from Bestman only save ice cream makers. You know what I mean? They don't even help people. Like, what am I supposed to do? They're not ice cream makers. They hold treasure now. Oh, big difference. Like, that makes it way better.
Yeah. But, So, but anyways, I am looking forward to, I heard from, a friend over at what's it called, that the ILM, they put the ILM in film, ILM. I think that is their official new slogan.
It's
we put the
ILM
in film.
Actually.
ILM.
It was in episode 9 originally, but now it's
no, but they did the reconstruction of Darth Vader though. We kind of joked past it, but it sounds pretty awesome. We actually like see him being, every single time he gets off the pot, so to speak, that thing that he's in, he has to get put back together by robots, and it doesn't sound like it's nice.
Are we gonna see him like come back from battle with like missing limbs? So he's got like a rack of just limbs that the droids just pull off every time he comes back limbless.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, crash test Vader. Yeah, crash test Vader. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about that a couple weeks ago, Jason. Right? I was like, what is he made of Beskar? And like that's not possible.
Darth Vader doesn't slap it. He goes, this guy's the little slappy Darth Vader here.
Well, he wants to give you the right information, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Darth Vader can't take being tickled, you guys. If Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan's got to get the tickle formation down.
So when Obi-Wan pulls out the feather, right, he goes, "Hey,
screw the lightsaber, you're going down."
You're like an old timey guy. It's not that far from St. Patrick's Day. I'm still a little drunk. No,
on Shamrock Shakes. Oh,
sure. I know he wouldn't try it. He was like, I'm not trying that green crap. You want to come sit down, Darth Vader? No? Okay. I just got a Darth Vader just staring at me like a weirdo right here. I got to be honest. I'm trying. I feel like I'm being camera bombed by Darth Vader right now on the news. Yeah. So, luckily, on this next little bit, there was, not really a lot of huge news going on today, but there was this little news story that came out yesterday, and I decided to read it to Luke after school yesterday, and that's when I realized, boy, do I not want to read this whole thing on the show, thankfully, which I planned to do initially, and then as I read it out loud to him, I was like, no, we're not doing that. But there was a new book coming out that is just sure to make everybody super annoyed, because the book does what it learned that you wanted from the episode 9 movie, the episode 9 Star Wars. And what they do is they are telling the story of Lando and Luke Skywalker going and looking for the exegol artifacts and all that stuff. Yeah. And in the excerpt, we kind of start with like Luke Skywalker, and he's on that meditation rock, I think on Tython, I think it's the same one that little baby Grogu's on. I'm guessing that's what it is. That meditation rock that Grogu calls Luke with. So it's that rock, and he goes to it, and then Luke is like starts like meditating on it, and then he is transported to Exegol. And then when he's on Exegol, he has these like now this is where I probably get ahead of myself. They call them wraiths, but they're really tall, like white figures, and I wasn't sure if they were supposed to be like Snokes and cloaks or something, or if I'm getting ahead of myself there. But basically, these things start like whizzing past him, like, and we like going by him and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, this place is spooky. Is anybody there?" He's like calling out and stuff, and it's just a kind of a creepy thing of Luke in a haunted house of Exegol when you get down to it. And so here's the and then the big part is at the end. Yeah.
So, but the hunt for the artifacts that Rey was looking for, that that Luke and Lando go on this adventure, all he had to do was go to Tython and stand in the damn circle to get teleported.
No, because Luke doesn't make it. Luke is there in a vision kind of sense. He's meditating, and then he's seeing it. So I think for Luke, he knows that he knows it's real. I think that's the important thing. Is at this point, like, Luke might not know if we obviously haven't read the whole book, so we're guessing here. But I think that Luke probably doesn't know if it's real. Is it just a vision, all this stuff? But when he goes to that place and he does it, it feels so real that he starts to know, okay, there's something to this. Something is actually going on here. And we get Uchi of Bestoon. He's in it too, but not in this part. But here we go. Luke fell backward on his elbows. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, standing between himself and the race was another figure, a man in flowing pale robes, his back to Luke, his head hidden under a voluminous hood. The entire figure glowed like soft electricity, bright in the world of endless night. When the lightning flashed, Luke could see the 9 solid wraiths through the form of the man who stood between them and their quarry. Luke's mind raced as he tried to identify the spirit of the Force who had arrived to protect him. Ben? No, it wasn't Ben. The robe, the man's form was. The spectral being lifted his lightsaber, holding it high above his head, the blade parallel to the ground. For the first time, the wraiths seemed to take note of their enemy. They backed away, 9 forms huddling together, blades lowered. They were screaming from their blank bandaged faces, although Luke wasn't sure whether it was a real sound or just an echo inside his head. It was hard to concentrate on what he was seeing, the way the force reverberated around the figure in blue. His entire vision seemed to buckle around him. And then blah, 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 blah. Then the blue figure turned around, his lightsaber extinguished. Luke pushed himself onto his elbows. He blinked. It couldn't be. It couldn't be. The blue figure lifted his hood to reveal the strong, sharp face of a young man, his gaze intense beneath a furrowed brow that was bisected by straight vertical scar. His thick hair was shoulder length and had a slight wave to it. Anakin Skywalker reached out his hand. Luke took it and everything went white.
Sold.
Sold.
The Audible.
Doing that, you full punk. Come here.
Yeah, instead of Audible, Jason, can you read me the whole book?
Yeah.
Just fall asleep to you reading it to me. It's good.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll put this mask on, and I'm like, tonight we are reading my fan fiction, The Claiming of Mike Pappas, Maximum Pappas. Okay. Anyways, Bestman's all Matt Smith, bro. But yeah. So this is kind of this is like kind of like a weird for me. I'm both excited and a little annoyed with it. Both kind of like a little like too little too late about the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean? It's like you did episode 9 where something like that like could have happened. It was set up to happen. They went as far as writing the scene and then just got like lazy and we're like, nah, you don't see him. And then they're like, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll write a book and then we'll have Anakin show up just like that for Luke Skywalker. So in the end, all this actually does is make the episode 9 moment fucking feel dumber to me.
Yeah.
as opposed to making this a cool thing, it makes that dumber.
Just more missed opportunity in my head is what it does.
Yeah, it's really strange. It's definitely like I find it to be. I mean, I like it. I think it should have happened here and it should have happened there, but it's clear to me this feels like reactionary to me. Like we didn't do that then, so what's everybody going to freak out and print if we do? Put Anakin.
When are we going to get a new movie, Jason? Like, I'm really tired of all the TV. I miss movies where we get to spend 6 months getting endless fucking commercials, and then we all get let down when the movie doesn't do a damn thing we wanted. You know, we've had 3 years of consistently great television and some bullshit space lizards, but those were fun. Like, why can't we get back to just the movies when nothing ever happens? Like, this is so weird. Like, it's just weird, dude. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird.
It's a weird time.
My cup is a little. My patience is wearing thin a little bit today with Lucasfilm, like and the books and stuff. Like I've just for some reason I woke up this morning going, why the hell are they making a Rogue Squadron movie? Like why? Like this should be a TV series. Who cares? Like you're gonna have a whole. Here's what's gonna be. It's not gonna be Rogue Squadron. It's gonna be Rogue Squad one guy. You can't possibly get to know the whole crew. You know what I mean? And they're all backing you up. It's gonna have a lead character
challenge because they will
take it. It's gonna be about Maverick and it's gonna be some. It's just not. It's just. It's like, oh man, like, and then this again, just you open up any of the concept art, you know, from the primarily the first 2 of the last 3 films, but even the Rise of Skywalker, fine. We went through it here, and you could pull out at least a dozen better designs that ended up in the films. You know, like especially what's her face that Kerry Russell played, right? Like
Zip Zam Wessel too.
And she had this look that looked like if Lando's daughter should have been like a bounty hunter, where it had like the cool like cheetah thing and the little hyena looking dogs and all that stuff. Like this right here. I mean, this is how you could have, I guess, I don't know. Like this is weird dealing with Anakin Skywalker as a ghost, and you know, it's just and wraiths and stuff. It's like I get it, but I don't know, man. Like you had that concept art of Luke with the Sith, the Sith ghost walking around Batu, or is that what's the Jedi planet he's on? The
Jeddah
freaking island.
Oh, Octu.
Octu.
Oh man, there's too many Jakkus, Batus, and Octus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine if we had to deal with Hoth, Both, Roth, Soth, Loth, and Voth. You know, there's enough Tueens. I get the Dan Tueen's enough. It was confusing enough in that movie.
So that could be a PR hook, right? Like that wraith could just be obviously in what's the word I'm looking for? Like pretending. God, my brain. Friday. Like pretending to be Anakin. It doesn't have to be him. It could be like a apparition, like a dark side apparition trying to manipulate Luke. I don't know.
Well,
it sounds
he's like basically astral projecting to Exegol, and then the spirits there are like, we don't want you here. They're trying to protect the Palpatine concept, and then you have Anakin showing up, scaring the wraiths away, and it's like, so it sounds like it could be like a huge kind of moment for at least for the print, like books and stuff like that. But at the same time, we don't have all the context, so we're able to make the scope of this bigger.
I'm way more excited about Grammar Rodeo at this point. I don't even know.
Oh yeah,
national Grammar Rodeo.
Well, like Stranger Things with kids sounds more interesting than Luke trying to like this. This stuff is just, yeah. Again, it's stuff that could have ended up in a film. I guess depends on who directed it. It's
gonna end up in Ahsoka. We're gonna end up with Ghost Anakin in Ahsoka talking to Ahsoka, doing this very thing. And then by the time I don't know when this book comes out, but if it doesn't come out really soon, no one's going to give a shit the closer it gets to Ahsoka, because so this is like, in a weird way, probably like their last chance of making it into print and really selling it as an exciting excerpt. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, the books have been, I think, very much unlike the believe it or not, the TV shows and the films and stuff like that, I feel like are much less mismanaged than the print. I think the print has been more mismanaged over time than anything, because how many wins have there been? How many darts have been thrown and how many have been bullseyes? There's not that many fucking bullseyes. I'll tell you that.
Oh
much.
yeah, I mean, I'm the
1
one
out
who
of 10.
recommends Ronin, Star Wars Ronin. No one here's read it. I'm the only one. You know, everyone's like, "It's not canon." I don't care. I don't care if it isn't canon. It should be. As far as I'm concerned, it's what I thought the original, the first Republic should be. This feudal samurai, like thing. Like it's what the original Tales of the Jedi should have been. Not like this Braveheart. Like it, but it's good. Half of Bloodlines is great. Catalyst is the tip of the top tier for Rob. Catalyst, because it ties right into Rogue One, and I guess Lost Stars, but I haven't read much of it. It's fine. What I've read was nice.
Dark Disciple's good too. I agree with you on the rest of them.
Because Dark Disciple was a TV show that was just transcribed into novel form.
Yeah, but it gives you like the character depth of Quinlan that you didn't really ever get, and it really like creates a persona outside of just surfer dude. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Goes on a quest for his rug.
Yeah, so that was my whole thing when I was reading the excerpt, though, when it's saying wraiths. I'm like, does it mean this like a D&D game, or is it using it as a descriptive thing for the being? You know what I mean? That's one of the where the text kind of failed me, or I failed in my reading comprehension. I'm not.
It sounds like a video game, like in my head. It's just like extra
it's
action.
Weirdly. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's weirdly over descriptive. I don't know how to write that out better. It's adjective overly adjectives. Like it's soup. You ever read the book Drive, the one the movie's based off of? Like,
nah, I saw the
fantastic. It's longer than the film. It has some extra stuff. They're not the same thing, but they kind of are. But what I would say is, it gets to the point. The writing is it's perfectly it's in your head. You get it. You understand. You're seeing what he's seeing. You get the feel it. We know what Anakin looks like. I don't need a slightly wavy hair. This shit don't mean nothing.
You know what, dude?
Especially when you say wraith, you're thinking they're blowing around like the wraiths. Or like poltergeist. Or like maybe there's some wind, but it's just weird.
Yeah, are these like
it's
Dementors from Harry Potter? I'm not sure what's going on.
It's jumping between the narrator and Luke's POV, like on the fly. It's third person and first person, like interchangeably. It's just, I don't know. It's just odd.
Yeah, I don't actually have I don't have like a problem with the I thought the writing was okay. I didn't think it was bad. I don't think it's bad. I think it's better than okay. But I've read a lot worse Star Wars writing, is what I'm trying to say. But my whole thing is just like, like when I buy one of these books, it'll be like the Bith took the pot after Kathleen Kennedy, and it too had to double flush, and I'm like, what's a Bith? And I'm like I have to like go on Wikipedia and look up what a Bith is, and I know what it, but I'm just using that as an example. But it's like describe things like what a Bith is. Like, give me some kind of clue. It's those guys that play in the cantinas all the time, or something like that. Give me some kind of like clue as to what it is. So it is kind of weird though that like you don't get description in these books often for things that you're like, I have no idea what that is. But then when it's like Anakin Skywalker and we all have like a fucking poster with a heart on our wall with him, on it.
Yeah.
Like, you're so dreamy, Hayden. It's like
we all know.
But at the same time, I don't really mind that yet they described him, because I was like, that hunk of wavy hair, maybe he got a haircut, maybe a little haircut, ghost haircut. Maybe he had the Beetlejuice haircut for this time. Maybe
so
he was
I have a copy of Dune, and it's like one of the older ones from like the 70s, and in the back it has like a full appendix of like what the hell this crap actually means. I've never read a Star Wars book that actually had an appendix like that in the back, besides my Star Wars encyclopedia that gets outdated every 5 days. But it almost sounds to me like this could benefit from like the way that they're taking the approach to the writing. Could benefit from like, oh, here's a little dictionary on page 382 in the back of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Joel says, so Jason says describe more. Rob says describe less. No, wise ass. Listen to what Jason just said. They describe shit we all fucking know, right? And then don't describe something they just made up in the book that you've never even heard of before. And they don't even have an appendices that then describes the shit in the back of the book. They just take it that you're going to know what that is. They do it all the time. It would be like describing the Millennium Falcon, but then somewhere in there, there's a solar sailor thing you've never heard of before, you know, and they just fly right past it. And you're like, what, why, that was important? What's up with that? You know, like, that's what we're talking about. Stop yelling at me. No, I'll yell. I'll yell all I want, Joel.
Joel, you can feel free to yell back all you want. That's cool.
Stop exclamation pointing me, Joel.
Oh.
All caps, Williamson.
All caps. Hey, all caps. You tweeted at me in all caps.
Not cranky today, guys. It's just this is the weirdness to Lucasfilm I was hoping would go away when they sold the company. I thought their part of it was just because Lucas made like ILM was always like a cell phone business, right?
Yeah.
Like my father had his own business, and it's always weirdly run compared to a regular company where you have an HR and you have this and you have form. This is always like, well, you know, we had our cousin is doing this and our uncle is doing that. This person got hired because they got recommended for our friend, no prior background checks. And it's just a lot of this has never changed. You know, it's just weird.
Well, you know what has like never changed in all of this?
I like spaceships.
That's the one consistent thing.
I like how he goes serious and in the smile.
It kind of reminds me of the kid. Remember that kid who's like doing like the computer stuff and he goes like, you know that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It kind of has a little bit of that computer kid swagger going on. You know?
Like a 286 floppy.
Yeah. Actually, it's a 486.
I had the same look on my face when I first got MMX.
Free Pentium.
I was able to play Myst.
I gotta say, I'm with Rob, man. I'm tired of the reactionary shit. Like, I'm tired of like, oh, we need to fill this gap now because nobody liked what the hell we did, and then maybe we can like benefit off of it now by like including that tie-in to Ahsoka. Like, I'm just tired of it. It's constant. It's 2022, dude. Like the trilogy started in 2015, and like. It's just, I'm with you, dude. I feel that
the only way they can fix the sequel trilogy is by giving us a series that either directly leads to it, that explains all the shit we never got in the movies, or builds off what they did with Rey and Finn or something else. Stop with trying to fix things in books and in comics is I'm up to here with it. I want the books and comics to do fun things that I can't get anywhere else. Star Wars Ronin, I can't get anywhere else other than a 10-minute cartoon on Star Wars Visions. That I get. You know, if they made a book like Jawa's Adventures where I could have fun Jawa stories and I could laugh and cool artwork, that'd be great. But they just keep trying to like when they were like the prequel to the book of Boba Fett will be the War of the Bounty Hunters. It's like, man, no, it's not. It's just a bad retelling of Shadows of the Empire. You know, like it's just a poor execution of something that wasn't all that great to begin with, but at least we got a video game and a soundtrack the last time. Now we get $3.99 times 24 floppies, you know, drawn by like 6 different artists across 5 different books. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know, so whatevs.
Well, like David, like my thing with that is usually what pulls me out of those kind of books are things that aren't really like that important, where it'll be like the Togruta and then I don't know, something more esoteric than that. And you're just like, what is that? Like, does it matter? Is it important? You're like, I really want to see the scene. Like, I want to know what it is. But then you know what I do? I pick up this stupid thing right here and I go look it up. And then the next thing I know, Mike Pappas is like, hey, look at these asses. And I'm like, oh, damn, those are some asses. And then I'm not in the book anymore. I'm done.
It's just the head. It's just that guy's head in Boba Fett,
but the
right?
No, it's less about like
assistant.
I send him ass all the time. It's less about like where you get the information prior to reading the paragraph. It's more so about explaining exactly what you're reading and just assuming every reader has the same knowledge base of like a fictional universe, which is really kind of just bad writing, I think.
Man,
Anyway,
there used
I'll
to
be right
be
back.
this meme, and it was two Cantina band member Bith heads, and they were together on a table, and it looks like an ass. It looks like somebody's ass is just sitting on a bench at Lucasfilm, but it's like the two Bith heads. I was trying to find it right now, but I didn't see it. But anyways, yeah. So like that kind of stuff is just like, it's kind of a turn off. But it's like like that moment right there. Like I love the moment, like the moment of like Anakin and Luke like sort of interacting in some way. But I'm also like, this is something that should happen on screen.
Yeah.
And now it's become complicated when they do it. I think when it does happen. Joseph Santa, do you know the positive show with a nice host?
Star Wars Meg. Star
Oh,
Wars
yeah.
Meg never lets me do it. She's always jibber jabbering and having a good time. Always positive. You can go to Star Wars Meg, Joel.
Well, no, that's why Star Wars Meg doesn't have like a live chat on her show. So that way everybody
yeah, because then she'll just kill us all.
Oh yeah, Meg would incinerate you guys. She'd be like,
right.
yeah.
That's my frustration. But that Jason, that's my frustration. Is like, this should have been the movie, like, or in the movie, like the flashback sequence, like there could have been like a whole way to start any of these films that would have done this, that didn't involve either riding weird cows or blowing up Maz Kanata's castle after we just got there, or was it right, whatever, Burning Man party for no reason, killing Chewbacca and then killing 3PO, but not really, like just all this stuff. Like, just give us, this is the one thing. Like, someone said the other day, could Rob be more positive? Rob just has to always be negative or something about the prequels.
Yeah,
right? Like, I just
be
have to
more
always
positive about the
unsolicited.
prequels, Rob. Give me one good thing
At
about
least,
the prequels, Rob. Tell us something that you love about the prequels today, Rob.
No Burning Man party. I mean, at least Lucas was trying to keep
those
the
Tuskens
characters.
seemed like they were the ones who killed his mom. I think they thought they were going to kidnap Shmi, and it was going to turn into a Burning Man, and instead they all just got chopped up. So I'll give it to you, but I'm with that caveat.
At least it features Jedi and there's Sith battles. I mean, like, it's got that going, It's got troopers. I mean, the Clone Wars still occur off screen. It's the weird. I was trying to describe it to my friend the other day. I was like, imagine if like they did Age of Apocalypse, the movie. They're going to make a trilogy of X-Men films, Age of Apocalypse. Professor X doesn't die until the end of the second film. All the apocalypse stuff happens off camera, and then the third movie we jump to the end of the Age of Apocalypse, like where they save the planet. Like, that's the prequels for me. Like, you didn't need to take him 6 movies, okay? Like, if he had, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think the solution to the prequels was him. He should have been like, actually, these are going to be episodes 1 through 6, and he's retitling 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, seriously, because you said something yesterday I was thinking about, where you said he almost overdeveloped the universe for 3 films, and that's true, but across 6 films that would have been plenty of universe,
Sure. Yeah.
Like that would have been locations you could have revisited, blown the shit out of Naboo, eventually visit Alderaan, see the Clone Wars could have taken place across 3 films, you know what I mean, or 2.5 films, whatever. Like, could have had all this grand adventure, in the way that the MCU sort of carries over film. They could have done that. And all they had to do was just retitle Star Wars Empire and Jedi 7, 8, 9. Like, that's all they had to do.
Yeah. And the TV format gives us the time that Rob's talking about, gives you 10 hours in a season. But the problem is the budgets for each episode aren't really spread out evenly. And you could see it. I've seen it from Mando 1 to Book of Boba. Like, you see the episodes, they're like, yeah, they kind of just like film that in the same spot again and moved shit around. Like, so if you have a film budget of $250 million to do 6 films, that it equates to the same amount of time of a 10-hour seasonal series, you're going to get more quality Star Wars that way. instead of us like getting 2 or 3 epic episodes that like really everyone remembers from a season, and like 4 to 5 mediocre episodes. It's still kind of half-assed for me.
And
right?
what is kind of good though, which I'm curious if this matters or not, but with you know, for the first couple of shows, everything was El Segundo or the volume. But once we get to Kenobi, we're using El Segundo, the volume, another set outside of Los Angeles. And then now we know that with Mando 3, they're doing some work out in Long Beach. We heard about one for Grammar Rodeo today that's outside. I'm curious if
Andor has almost none.
Andor's all practical because it's filmed in the UK. So I wonder if we lose that vibe of everything, kind of like you could kind of tell it's in the same place in certain ways. There's just certain things about the environment. I wonder if that starts to change it or not, or does doing the same thing a mere 45 minutes away not actually change it in Southern California, where it's all kind of the same here. You know what I mean? Like your elevation changes a bit, but
I think it would enhance the scope of changing the scenes and the environments, making you feel like you're really in a different place.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. David says Star Wars storytelling needs long game planning. And you know, it's what's funny is I do agree with you, but then like, you know, I have to see how the High Republic era shows really pan out, because the first long game planning we've seen has been the High Republic, and I'd rather bring a book to that book. That's how boring that shit was for me. I'm not, if you have fun with it, by all means, and continue to have your fun. I'm not here to ruin anybody's parade if they're having a good time. Personally, when I was like, this feels like fucking homework right now. I feel like I'm like, you know, when you're having to read Greek myths, but you don't want to, in like 7th grade. Like that's what I felt like when I was doing that stuff. I'm like, oh, this is just kind of a long hard slog for me. And but I'm hoping that after I see the live action television stuff, I'm hoping it's fantastic, and then that ropes me in, and maybe I even have more of an interest in that stuff. Maybe my lack of imagination is a part of the problem. Maybe, you know.
Nah,
your dummy brings up something that dummy.
Oh, no. What's dummy have to say today? No.
Dummy Brother says, I've actually felt the sequel trilogy should be titled episodes 10 through 12. They should do New Republic trilogy set after Jedi called 7, 8, 9. I thought originally that's what they should have done.
Yeah.
I felt back in 12, 13, whenever they announced this stuff officially, was that they should have announced episode 10, 11, 12, and then said, we'll go back and do 7, 8, 9 when the technology to de-age at Mark Hamill and then makes more sense. You know, like, and I'm not saying a 1-to-1 heir to the Empire. I'm not saying that, but whatever happened that set up the events of because it feels like this First Order, all this stuff, like there's 3 other films that set all this stuff up. There's all this stuff that happened that we never saw. So it could have happened, but we'll get to it later, you know, and that could have solved a lot of problems too. And no one would have, I mean, who's going to groan that much about them saying we're doing this and then later we'll do prequels or midquels or, you know?
I mean, it's very Star Wars to skip ahead and then go back. And then those are great reasons, right?
Yeah. My personal, I mean, take deep down inside is none of that shit actually like really matters, since it's a living, breathing, ongoing text. When I say text, I mean the whole thing. And so with that in mind, like Clone Wars stuff, like that's my actual hope, is that if they take Anakin and Obi-Wan and they get Tamara Morrison and Dave Filoni's thing after Ahsoka is something with the Clone Wars, some just war movie, just give us a war movie with those guys, you know what I mean? And you can introduce a bunch of new characters and kill them if you need to, or so we don't know their fates. And so when I start to see that kind of thing, I'm like, you know, maybe I will feel like I got a Clone Wars trilogy of films in between episodes 2 and 3, you know. And if that happens at the end of all of this, if that's what I have on my shelf, I'm going to be a happy fan, if you will. You know what I mean, with the ability to revisit things. And I kind of find though that has been the big weirder part of the current era of Star Wars is I used to always like I just put it on for background stuff, like while I'm doing other things, playing guitar or something. Put on the Star Wars movies. I'm doing something else. Like if I was Rob, probably like while I was drawing, I probably would put on the Star Wars movies. And
That's how I feel about Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw, he puts that on.
Yeah.
But
93 to 97. Yeah.
But with the amount of stuff that we have now coming at us continually, it feels like there's not as much time to like go back and like I feel like I don't get to revisit things as much as I used to. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different for me. But that's a pretty cool beat. That rough.
Oh, sorry, Jack.
No, it's totally okay. It's totally okay. I'm just joking. Yeah.
I actually can't hear him because of the headphones. I'm just assuming that's what's happening.
Yeah, no, we have kitty sources too, so that's probably one of our doggy sources. The Talking Sith says episode 4 through 6 didn't have long game planning. They changed throughout, but you had a consistent storyteller. Yeah, I think that in certain ways, I think you might. I love George Lucas, for the record. I think you may be a little kind calling him consistent, other than the fact that it was like the same guy. And I kind of think that with episodes 7, 8, and 9, I think that there was a little bit of they did just make it up as they go, and it worked. So let's see how that do you know what I mean? Plays for us. And but the difference is when they were doing that, it was building and it was new, and there wasn't years of expectations beyond, and they totally just mismanaged expectations on the sequels. Like in reality, tell me why I should care or why I do care about who the fuck Rey's parents are. The only reason why is because of real world stuff based off of they're doing another one. Well, whose daughter is she? But if you organically watch it, it doesn't matter and it shouldn't matter, but it became so important and then it was just shoved aside. Like there's absolutely like very little in the story that makes it go, oh, when Rey finds out who her mom is, she'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. That's never a thing. It's only that she doesn't want to leave Jakku, but then she does. So once she leaves Jakku, it's no longer actually important at all. And that's where Rian Johnson did the right thing. I think he really did the right move. Her parents were nobody. She comes from shit and she's going to be somebody. But then in the end, they undo it. And then so in the end, this riding by the seat of her pants thing, it bites itself in the ass. That's what I think anyway. So it's like, remember when they hired the Game of Thrones guys? Yeah. Their thing was going to be done like that too, to some extent, but you would have the consistent showrunners of those films. Yeah. It was going to be an ongoing, never-ending series of things, and they would have all connected, but that didn't happen. But that would have been, I think, back to the same kind of problem too. So here we are now with the TV shows, and I don't know if the TV shows actually solve the problem, or if they just kind of are a diversion, and that you don't notice it as much because you're going to have like on Kenobi a Deborah Chow who directs them all, or you have a showrunner like Favreau on who oversees them all. But as we saw with Boba Fett and Mandalorian, night and day in terms of quality, in terms of performance, and Book of Boba really is C grade compared to Mando's A, if you will.
Yeah.
And even the Marvel films, film by film, they have a starting point. They have years of concept art development. Then it adjusts as the film gets made. But what they don't have is they never have this problem. We don't know who our villain is, and we're not clear on who our protagonist is. And these sequels, like, they tell you the villain is Ben Solo because he kills Han Solo, and then they're getting together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now it's a kind of a romantic will they, won't they kind of moment. And Snoke is dead, but no, then Ben's the bad guy. But then he's not. No Palpatine. Now Palpatine's the bad guy. like it doesn't. I like not knowing I don't know where the story's going. But at some point when you hit that third act, the third act is we know who the villain is. We know who the good guys are. Here are the stakes. Solve it. But it just adds a bunch of new shit. Doesn't know what it wants to do.
I think there's a difference between between different people involved, not the same showrunner, kind of just going by the seat of their pants, figuring this thing out, and it not having that long driven plan, then the showrunners, like Josh was just saying, I saw his comment up, then the same showrunners or creator kind of flying by the seat of his pants, but at the same time, he has, like, say, X, Y, and Z knowing where he wants to end up, just finding a way to get there, right? And I think, in my opinion, that the Filoni verse stuff, if that's a good word to use here, is kind of going towards that, like, phase one, like MCU has like the end game and the Infinity War thing, like that Thrawn arc is coming. It's been seeded at, and kind of figured out that's really what's going to happen. So if it works, it works. But at least there is the same showrunner, the same creative nucleus in place where it's like, oh, we've got Trevorrow. Oh no, we're just going to let JJ do it. Oh, well, Brian's going to do this one. And like that adds more complication to flying by the seat of your pants. Right.
Yeah. I kind of, the thing is though, Kathleen Kennedy is the runner, the executive producer of all of these. So like that role does exist. And then the other thing
she doesn't have a pen in her hand, though, Jason. Like there's no pen in her hand,
the producer,
right?
Yeah, she's an executive producer. But where I'm going with this is, I do not think it's actually realistic to have 3 Star Wars movies made close together with the same directors for 3 movies. And I think I think the people who you can get to do that aren't necessarily going to be the J.J. Abrams rock star. We could sell that kind of tier. So they need to kind of come up with a plan of we're going to start using more lesser known directors that are willing to sign on for 3 movies and not get burned out. And even Robert Zemeckis couldn't do it for 2 Back to the Futures back to back, So that's where I'm a little bit like I think it might be not necessarily in that level. It might be that they may need to get 3 writers, figure out or 1 writer to write all 3 of the scripts, like in a trilogy, for instance, and then get all of the directors on the same page as together about who's going to do what, and then go from there probably.
Let me give you a real world example and then a hypothetical example. The real world example is Avatars 2 through 4. So Cameron got together three writers, and they developed a storyline that went all the way through. No one was particularly working on any film, just a grand storyline. Then he split it up and handed each particular film to the writer that was suited to the material. So that no one was trying to hoard ideas.
He did a TV show writer's room kind of breakdown of
it's the same because he did Dark Angel. When he first started producing Dark Angel, he just ran it exactly like that. Yeah. When they hired JJ, I thought JJ would have been overseeing it, probably direct the first one because he likes to do the pilot. And then it would have been 2 other directors that he had under Bad Robot, a Matt Reeves or a Dan Trachtenberg or Lindelof. Any one of the directors from The Lost or Felicity or any one of those people could then pick up and do the next episode and then the next episode of production, where that's how they could have just ran it the way they do the TV thing, trying to auteur a trilogy under a set of films in the compressed time windows we have. Time is the biggest enemy of all movies. Time. There's never enough time. Even if you have 4 years, it's not enough time. Whatever time you have, it's not enough time. So when they spend a year or 2 developing episode 9 and then chuck it all away to then make a whole nother thing from scratch in even less amount of time. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? That. I mean, it's almost a miracle it even came out, really. But
yeah. I think the plan not working too is Carrie's death. That's the big part. Sure. That was because with the schedule that they did have, they would have, I think, have had more time to fix episode 9 to make episode 9 an improved film. If they weren't having to literally go, okay, we're back to square one now all of a sudden, when we were on a path with the story that we wanted to tell initially.
Trevorrow got brought back to square one because of Ryan's decision making for the finale of 8, right? Of Last Jedi. Like he wanted Luke to be more prominent protagonist and like a bigger character in 9. And I think that was
I don't think so, dude. I don't think that's actually that accurate. I'm not saying that he wasn't hoping for something like that at some point, but Ryan already had that stuff written. Like there were drafts of episode 8, while episode 7 was still being filmed. And so by the time you have him come aboard to do the one after, when Ryan's like, I'm too exhausted, it was clear what it was. No, I don't believe he signed up for something not knowing what it was.
Yeah, I just remember reading that, and I didn't know if that was confirmed.
Yeah, and the other thing is on Javaro is what was the real fucking story is the big question at the end of the day, because I can tell you for a fact that the script that leaked out there is not as good, or sorry, is better than the next iteration of the story. And I published my notes on that before.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And like you could read the first one and then just look at it and see what the changes are very easily. And when you go and you do it, it's like it didn't get better, it got worse. But did it get worse because of Lucasfilm interference? Did it get worse because those ideas just don't grow into anything stronger? You know what I mean? Was that the extent of the vision? I don't actually like know the answer to that, but it does. I mean, but it does speak to the fact that it's all a bunch of fake. It's all fake. It's not real. Star Wars isn't real. But when you're trying to like read the nuance of a scene, they don't know what it means. So it's like faking nuance. It's like the guy who's like, oh, I know a lot of what happens at the end. You guys get ready for this. Oh, I wish I could comment on that right now, but it's gonna really, and it's like, you do that kind of game.
Trilogy.
Forlom trilogy, yeah.
Shows up at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, right. He's totally like the most important, it's like Kenobi's best friend. It's the biggest thing ever. But Stannis says, I disagree about Rey's parents thing. I think it speaks to her psyche and character motivation. I honestly gotta ask you, dude, like after she has her talk with Maz Kanata, once she goes to find Luke, what's the issue? She goes into the cave and she sees multiple versions of herself. Like that's my problem with Rey. If I want to be critical, and I like the sequel trilogy and I like Rey for the record, but with Luke Skywalker, he starts off wanting to become his father. Then it turns out his father's an asshole, and he has to contend with, oh shit, my dad's an asshole. And then he has to contend with, am I an asshole? What man am I going to be? And then at the end of the day, he goes, I know my dad was a good man at one point. I'm going to be the good man that my dad used to be. Then the father goes, shit, you know what? I used to be a good man too. Throws homeboy down the hole. And then we have this weird atonement. Luke's a man now. He understands his father. Everybody's happy, But with Rey, it's my parents are coming back. Oh no, they're actually dead and not coming back. Okay, that's news to me. They are dead. Yeah, they're dead. And they're drunk. So now you're stuck with my parents are drunks. But Rey doesn't have a drinking problem. They cut all the stuff with Rey ever having a drink from the movie. She should get drunk in Maz Kanata's bar. And so they got rid of all that.
It was written by a bunch of people who've never lost their parents. And it's look, I'm telling you, it's a frustrating thing to watch because I'm like, I understand all of this. This is not 3 movies worth, unless this is going to be some deep, like she has to be a self-destructive or a highly positive person. She's a person who at this point just wants to help the universe. And anything dealing with their parents just stops the story. So she has to stop and stare at the camera and then make a decision. We don't know what do I agree with this information or not agree with it? That is not a moving forward or backward choice. That is just, do I agree with it or not agree with it? It might hurt my feelings. Maybe it'll confuse me. She doesn't know what to do with that information. Her psyche is just that of confusion anytime her parents are brought up because the person writing it is confused. The person writing it doesn't know what it means. It was done with in the first film, unless her father was Han Solo, the one guy who got killed by a character that could have been her brother, then there's no other reason to go back to it. You know,
and I don't really I didn't want this story, but I feel like with the trajectory that they gave Rey, and if they were going to do the Palpatine thing, I feel like she would have had to have joined him. Like not just having, I had a vision. I was Dark Rey, and I was way sexier and cool with bad teeth. Like, okay, they had a bad dream. Okay,
yeah, and then you have to have 3 other films saving Rey while she goes off and becomes the bad person.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean, like
melodrama.
Yeah. Either this is the episode 9 is the beginning of the next 3 films, or it's rounding that one out. The parent thing. That's why it's just so annoying, because it's like. We're all just talking about a characters we're never really going to get to know, see, or give a shit about unless somehow 3 years from now, Filoni and them decide to put them in a series and make you care. But then we're right back to trying to give more. It's the Clone Wars cartoon. Now we're going to make you care about the shit you didn't care about because we kind of wasted some opportunities. Oh, that's great. But like we're going backwards to solve the things that we could have solved then. Do you have the opportunity now to let it go and let's just get to know the characters? I got a weird feeling, man, that we're going to get stuck seeing. The only way I'd be interested in seeing her parents come back and like the TV side is if we could actually see that whole, if it happens simultaneously, like with the destruction of the Jedi Palace thing, Ben Solo running off with the, Snoke, and the Battle of Jakku. Like if you put all those, that's a fucking movie trilogy. It's like, you think about how big those elements are to see visually. That's some big shit right there. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Like, it's just, instead we're getting my whole complaint about, the whole reason why I started complaining in the first place was, I was like, oh, we're getting a Rogue Squadron film. Yeah. Can't wait. You want
to know what the most adorable thing of the day is that you think we're getting a Rogue Squadron film. That's so cute.
Come on. I'm trying to be nice. I've been saying we ain't, but like, what do I gotta do? It seems to break Star Wars Meg's heart every time I say it's not happening.
I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I hope it's totally on schedule. We just don't know.
We're not getting one December 13th, 2023.
I don't think.
If we do, it's. I don't think it's going to be that Top Gun like formula. I don't think. I think it would have went that way with that director. That's no longer a part of it. I think they went to it.
No, she's still a part of it. She jumped off of Cleopatra. And that's either, I don't know what's going on with that movie. Something changed with Cleopatra, and she's put her focus onto the Star Wars film, but so far we don't have any crew with a start date that makes any sense for filming that production to make that release date, unless it's all being done in previs and it's so effects heavy that 90% of the movie is being made in a computer. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But here and then David says parentage is a big theme of Star Wars, though. And it is, but the problem with Rey's parents is nothing. There was nothing wrong with Rey's
except
parents.
Jason, but this is where I got like, okay, when they announced a Solo movie and Emilia Clarke was in there, and I'm like, oh, okay, what if that was Rey's mom, right? And so then in the third film, she can see her mom, and you can just age her up, right? You know what I mean? She can go find her mom, and then get, like, there could have been a split there because Han and her had a little, and then she's got a different mom. Like that would have at least brought some kind of visual, like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have gave some meaning to the Han Solo film.
Sure.
We don't have to see Han physically cheat on Leia at some point, right? Yeah. Right? We can then say, hey, it was a different, split. It was a more open time. They were on a break, but like, to quote a show Jason's not the fan of, but that would have at least done. But I just can't believe 7 years now. It was 7 years later here. It's still like the premise of The Force Awakens is something we're still talking about. Yeah. Like, it's so weird. It'd be like talking about Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. You know what I mean? Like, was Luke supposed to stay there or not stay there? Yeah. They're They're
Well,
charcoal now.
I can't wait until they pick up the Rey, Finn, and Poe stories in different ways down the road, because then we get to start moving past it and just move on, which is what we're gonna do. I mean, you know,
Best
some of
case
those
scenario, that's what they do.
Well, she had lunch with Daisy, right? I mean,
everybody has lunch with Daisy. Daisy needs to eat, so
Kathleen's got some, you know, lunch expense.
Mike, Daisy has all the info on the Peter Rabbit series, and Kathleen's a huge fan. So you got to understand. I want the spoilers for Peter Rabbit. You know,
I think it's coming
to lunch.
Oh, and thanks to everybody who's a channel member and supports the show. Much appreciated. Thank you, David, for being a channel member. I think Jason reported on this. Book of Boba Fett was supposed to be Mando season 3, but then behind the scenes stuff went down. No. So Book of Boba Fett went into production in secret under the guise of being Mandalorian season 3. Same crew, same runners, most of the same people, but it was a different show. So they were able to go and sneak it in, and nobody knew that the new show was getting started. There was just no reason to go do a changeover with it being all the same. Then another leaker went and reported there was all this drama that went on and stuff like that, and it just wasn't true. That was them hearing these facts of this stuff and then assuming it must mean that. And if they did change the main character to Boba Fett of the Mandalorian in season 3, there would have been drama behind the scenes. So I think that person went and then either fabricated the story or was told that fabricated story to make it into a thing. But that was never like what it was. So, but basically they just decided to like do this show, and it was kind of like, because so much of the third season was Boba Fett heavy, they just separated out the story and decided to make the season 3 of the Mandalorian more linear. That's what how I understand this went on. And for the record, the like drama I'm saying with Pedro Pascal happened with season 1. And it was that there was talk about how much, from the way I heard the story, was that there was negotiations for cash for multiple seasons and stuff. He came on, they had already filmed most of Mando season 1 before he even came on. And there was a lot of talk of like we're not, at Disney, I'm not wanting to pay him like he was an actor when he's a voice actor. And then he wanted us, they're like, we're not even going to show your face. He's like, well, I want my face shown. So that's kind of when we got the scenes written where we do see his face with IG-11. That was the big, well, IG-11 could look at him. And that's how they kind of like got it in there. And so anyways, though, they worked that out during season 1. And I knew about all that drama. I also had the casting of Pedro Pascal at the time. So if anybody thinks that I'm making shit up, how would I have had that first if I was making shit up? But anyways, all of that.
Bespin had it.
We're the same guy. That's why. But yeah. So anyways, so that's what happened there. So just to clarify, Lefko says Favreau verse is better. Favoloni. I'm not talking Sith. Favoloni guy. I like it because
Favoloni with my mozzarella and my prosciutto.
Chef Boyardee's Favolonis. Why did Trevorrow get ousted again? So nobody knows like what the real stuff is, and I think like the official story was more like Carrie died. We didn't know where to go, and it kind of stalled it out, and then we decided to leave. I think that's like the official story. The story, as I heard it, was that if they didn't like the first draft, they gave back notes. They got the second draft, and they were told they weren't really happy with it. They wanted to bring in a different writer. Trevorrow has his writing buddy, and then they brought in Jack Thorne, and Jack Thorne started writing. I don't even know if Jack Thorne knows this. I'm not sure if, but what I heard is Jack Thorne was brought in to write the script based off of some ideas that he had and what Lucasfilm wanted. And then they presented that script to Trevorrow, and he was like, no, I'm not interested. This isn't a movie I want to make. And in that movie, Rey was, in the Jack Thorne version, Rey was the daughter of the maid of the Solos, who grew up in their house with Ben Solo as Ben Solo was kind of becoming what he becomes. And ends up with a duel inside the Solo home as she gets her memories back. And
my name is Ray Downton,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The Crowley solos and they went to,
Hey, it's a
Aw,
Chewbacca.
little puppy.
It's a Chewbacca mutation Ewok thing.
It's a
I got a
Chewbacca
little
Jawa
schnauzer
hybrid.
mix myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The schnauz.
The schnauzes.
I got a little schnauzer mix.
But yeah, the couldn't deal with Carrie's death thing. I don't really buy that, because if you read my notes on the second draft, they dealt with it pretty well. And in fact, I don't think it actually changed the core or the heart of their story at all, personally.
Well, maybe he means Trevorrow couldn't deal with it on the rewrite because she was a big part of it.
No, that's what I read. I've read the rewrite to that, and I published my notes on it, and you could see exactly how they dealt with it. And you could look at the original one, and you could see that doesn't really make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless he knew Carrie Fisher personally, which we have no indication that he did, and it was just like, oh, huge bummer, didn't want to deal with it. But I think that is a bit of a. I think at the end of the day, they presented their best version of Episode 9 was essentially that first draft, and that movie was never going to be made, and it wasn't as many ideas as fans want to checkbox that they like on there. It really, do not believe would have made a great Star Wars movie. I think it would have been as bad as the Episode 9 we got for just a whole different slew of reasons. But at the same time, there are things I prefer what happens to Finn in it. So I think that the only place that it wins out is that Finn gets a bit of a better story. I think that's where it truly wins out for me. But there's some pretty laughable stuff in it, and some, but I don't know.
We did a 9-part reading of the one script, which was, which had characters named Solana and places called Filoni. It's just weird.
Yeah.
the cool name, Duel of Fate's cool name. But like it's like when when someone tells you Kenobi was going to be bleak, like in your head you're imagining a cooler thing than the actual script was.
Yeah.
Like if anything, if they could have done that script, they at the very least, and they weren't going to do that script, but if they were going to do that script, they needed someone to come in and polish the shit out of that dialogue, because the dialogue was bad.
Yeah, I mean, if the way I heard things was in any way accurate, I sometimes wonder why Jack Thorne didn't come in and rewrite Trevorrow's 9. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it was just structurally so. Jack Thorne that's a real writer. I know we don't like the idea that was presented in that script, or most fans don't seem to like it. I still honestly think that I think Jack Thorne did a good job with what they set up. At the end of the day, like, what is her position to these people? Why the fuck is she even here? and it's like, and Jack Thorne was like, well, and he answers it in the only way that I feel like you really could if you actually like ask the correct questions. And
if her parents had just been Jedis at that academy and they weren't supposed to have attachment and they had a kid, you know what I mean? And that was her.
Why
and Luke is like fucking bummed out about it. But Jason, because it's soap opera, at least it's something that gave it. Like, I'm telling you, people don't respond to they're nobody. I'm just telling you, the average audience doesn't go fucking love that. I love when Batman was from nowhere. They don't love it.
No, but that's why you either go with her being nobody or with what you were doing, the soap opera thing of her being Han Solo's fucking daughter.
Right.
With the gun on the spaceship.
And you just did a solo. That's why I thought the Solo movie would have been the prequel that takes place in between 8 and 9 that would say, here's her mother, here's her father. And then when him and Leia were split, they had a thing and this chick showed up. You know what I mean? And this is a problem for everybody, you know?
Yeah,
and she didn't want, and why don't we know who her mom is? Because her mom was the head of a criminal syndicate, and it would have been 10 times.
Right?
Do we tell everyone your dad is the wife to the fucking chancellor, or the husband to the chancellor, the fucking president of the galaxy, and a guy who's #1 target of the empire because he helped blow them up? Or do we tell them that your mom was the head of the criminal syndicate? It's like probably best no one know who you are, you know.
Or what if the mom is the head of the criminal syndicate and also like Palpatine's daughter somehow?
Well, you know the thing is that they always had this idea that the parents have a bad vision, like before Han Solo's accident, Harrison Ford's accident, on episode 7, they had a story element where they know something's wrong with Kylo or with Ben. Something's not right. And for that reason, they take him to Luke, and he's like 10 years old. And they were going to have the like, it was the Jakku set at the time, the Jakku Jedi Temple set. And he's brought there and he's given over, and you could tell like the boy is upset. It was the idea. He's being abandoned to Luke. And so they were always going to do that. So once again, I mean, if you could have done a story with Leia or Han or somebody. Leia probably has a vision, or even Luke, that this kid's gonna do this bad thing, and it's better just to push her away, just to leave, not to come out and do the late term lightsaber force abortion that he was going to do to Kylo, but instead just drop her off on a planet and forget about her and hope she just becomes nothing and is out of the way. And then we have the Cinderella story where that never worked.
Or she wasn't abandoned; she was stranded after the Battle of Jakku. Like that whole planet features what looks like the final battle between the Empire, the remnants of the Empire, and the beginnings of the New Republic. You know, and we never get to see it. So it's
and when we got the Bloodline book, Rob, like when we got the Bloodline book, I was like convinced that there will be hints that like there is a secret child, and like we kind of have bad vibes with our son. So like let's just like put her somewhere safe. We'll go grab her later. We'll grab her in like 20 years. You know, I was convinced episode 9 was going to fill that gap for me. And that would have worked for me really, really well. And it just didn't, you know, and I'm still disappointed by it. Right.
Yeah. Or like the loss of their daughter ruins their marriage, ruins the relationship with their son. Their son turns to the dark side. Then she's found alive and she comes back, and she's like, there was a lot of very just natural, like very given things that they could have done. And instead it's like, wow, we're really going to come at this from a different angle. We're not going to tell you who she is. We're not going to make up our mind. Oh, but I don't like what you did. I'm going to make her Palpatine's granddaughter.
Is it as simple as they just overthunk it? They overthunk.
Well, I think J.J. Abrams is, for every time he's brave, he's fucking a coward twice with his creative decisions. He's a conservative. When I say conservative, I don't mean politically. I mean he's conservative with the audience expectations and how he plays with it. Because everyone just didn't want to commit to anything.
What you said, here's a 100%. You're 100% right. And guys like Star Wars Santa and them were like, Ray, nobody was better. Hey, good, you got that movie. Then you should be happy. Shut up. Like here's how we can prove.
Shut up. Nobody put Santa in
I'm
the
just
corner.
I'm trying to be clickbaity. Santa, shut up. No, I look. He already got me, Cole. What do you want me to do?
He got you.
It's you know, Santa, you could be a little bit more green.
Bring your parents back when you asked for it when you were 7, did he?
No, I didn't want. Look, I got my mom back. It doesn't go well. So let me explain. Let's take the Star Wars out of it, right? And let's take the Star Trek out of it. Fuck all that. Super 8. JJ couldn't commit to an alien design.
You're right.
Couldn't commit to the look of an alien.
This motherfucker
did he get married? Could not commit to just what and everyone, doesn't matter what it is. It isn't really important. I'm like, this is a person. The job of a director is to make decisions. Yeah. Like that is their job. I got friends who direct. That's like the hardest part of my job is making decisions. What do you mean? You don't understand. If I make the wrong one, I'm out of work forever. You know, I lose all these people money. I could get sued. My production company could get sued. People don't even talk about the lawsuits that go on behind the scenes when movies don't work out, by the way, because investors didn't get recouped their funds and stuff. Like it's a whole thing. I mean, Tom Cruise, Kim Masters just put out a whole thing on Mission Impossible 7 and 8 and Tom Cruise, and how he managed to lawyer up and sue the shit out of Paramount to get everything he wanted with those films, when every time they tried to release the films on Paramount Plus and not make the movie or delay it. And so like it gets so complicated. So as a director, you have to make decisions.
You got to commit.
You know,
he doesn't commit. He questions himself.
And somehow he gets away with it. I don't know how. Like, you know, like Warner Brothers is like, hey, take over fucking Batman or Superman or whatever, you know, make more crazy decisions that we have no intentions of fulfilling. It's just odd. It's so odd.
Speaking of Paramount, I feel like Top Gun 2 doesn't exist. I feel like it's the biggest troll in Hollywood history. Like, I don't think we're ever getting that movie.
No, it exists. My friends have seen it. They
I mean,
did the
for
IMAX
my eyeballs,
quality
it doesn't
testing.
exist.
The IMAX quality testing in those atmospheres. They have to do that stuff where they test the highest quality version of those films. It's amazing. It's amazing footage. I don't know. They haven't seen the whole. They can't say about the whole film because they don't want to get in trouble. But
gotcha.
It's entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me because that director sometimes, like Nolan, can be a little not charactery. You know, like Oblivion. You're kind of like, I like Oblivion, but I admit you're outside of those characters. You're kind of just peering in. You know, Tron. You're not really with them. You're kind of looking around the universe. It's that kind of thing. You know, so. But it is visually stunning, you know, so.
Right.
Yeah.
David says, I really want to see Ryan's trilogy, but creating a story, characters, environment, etc. from scratch and do it takes a lot of time. And Ryan just got in bed with Netflix, just like the Game of Thrones guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for Knives Out too. Like, some people think I still think the best case scenario, given everything that was going down with Lucasfilm, not what they should have done, hypothetically, things that were actually on the table, was Ryan. You said Ryan almost came back, right, for episode 9. Letting him just finish that was the best case scenario, given what they made, where they were at, what they had to do.
Right.
You know,
with Last Jedi in the bag already, 100%, they should have just let him finish it up.
There is nothing to this, by the way, but I've wondered every now and then if Grammar Rodeo is Ryan's thing, and wouldn't that be crazy?
Retooled.
Well, because I had heard that Disney wanted it to scale a bit younger. They wanted his trilogy to start younger and then get up to age. So we were going to start more, and they wanted it. I don't know if that's what he was going to do, but they wanted it to a scale younger. And then I hear about Grammar Rodeo, and I'm like, what if Rian Johnson is making a Star Wars thing right now? Nobody even knows. Wouldn't that be crazy? I don't think that.
So that's him actually doing it versus the idea.
I don't know, man. I'm just throwing it out there. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Well, he signed the Netflix deal.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
He signed the Netflix deal. That stuff he's already in pre-production for like 2 or 3 different projects from what I read like months back.
Yeah.
And I'm not making that up. Like, I read he's got 2 or 3 projects with Netflix that he's already working on. So how is he going to like build a whole universe and do a trilogy if he's got these whole other contracts that he's signed off on? And why isn't Disney locking down creative leads like a Rian Johnson the way that Netflix and Amazon does? Like, I think they're prestigious Star Wars and Marvel. They don't have to like.
I think that they absolutely did do that, but that's expired. That's the difference, is you can't lock Rian Johnson down in perpetuity. Like, they're not going to pay anybody that amount of money, and for that kind of access, and nobody's going to give it. And they had Rian for quite a while where they could have moved forward with something, and then they didn't. Solo bombed, all, you know what I mean, the world, all the stuff. So I personally doubt it happens at this point. I think that his relationship with them, from everything I've ever heard and what I understand, is good. So if at some point he's sitting there and he has this aha moment, or they have like, oh, we really want that, I can still see it happening. And there's always a chance that whatever deal he signed with Netflix is still might be like, if they call me for Star Wars, for all we know, he has that is part of the deal. We don't know what the deal is. So it could be, if they call me for Star Wars, I got to go do Star Wars. But otherwise I'm doing these Netflix shows. But we also don't know if it's like, is he doing it all? There were people who left from Lucasfilm to work on projects with him that I know about for shows and stuff like that. It's probably part of this deal in the end. And so there's like a chance that it just may be a bunch of development deals and stuff like that. And it may not require a big cash grab thing for him.
Yeah.
But this is what the genius of the TV shows is. Cause like David says this, right? He goes, elite proven directors are scared, hesitant, don't want to make Star Wars films. Yeah. They don't want to be tied to a $100 million ad campaign for a film that gets overhyped, and then they have to take the fall if it doesn't live up to everyone's expectations. However, when you get to do an episode here, an episode there, an episode there, and everyone's like, this is great, we want to see you do a movie, you can build up to something. You know, so far it had the impression for a lot of people. Look, the director's jail is a real problem. in Hollywood, where if you fail, they go, well, that's it. You never work again.
There's more accountability. There's more accountability, risk and responsibility with a film than it is to like do a couple episodes, basically.
Yeah. And so, like, I mean, there have been times, like, if that were the case, Favreau should never have made a film after Iron Man 2, right? Right? Yeah. Right? He shouldn't even be here now working on Mando, because Iron Man 2 was, I still say, the worst of all the MCU films, by far. It's barely a film.
Well, it's because
it's got one interesting sequence.
Who all want to pretend like they're genius executives. They all saw what was happening the whole time. It's the same people who decided that that people in music needed to be 19 years old, get one chance at a record, and then they're done forever if that doesn't connect.
Right.
It murdered the industry. It's why it's why you don't have, your current version of some kind of Pink Floyd of modern times. It's why you only have a couple of just the people at the very tail end of that murdering of that industry who are still around.
Imagine if you'd only gotten the Jackson 5 for 1 or 2 albums, and then you never got Off the Wall, or Janet Jackson never got her album, right? Because that mentality was, well, they're too old now, never come back. Like
hey, we're all Queen fans here. Queen 1, hey, I love it. Most of you guys probably never heard it. Queen 2, it's the best Queen record. You just don't know that yet. You ever rocked out to Ogre Battle? You should try it. But nobody bought that shit, and then it's not until you get to Killer Queen on Sheer Heart Attack that they even have a chance. But today, Queen would not get three chances.
Which,
because
I felt the movie should have been about
right every time the first time.
I really felt the movie should have been about those 3 albums, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, there's your 3-act structure. You know what I mean? Like
nope. That movie
giving
sucked.
worse and then a win, but not, the fucking crazy film we got.
The actors in it are great. The depictions of them are great. Everything after that is just like cool. It's really cool reading your Queen fan fiction,
Right.
But and I think Baymax has like what was obviously there, and I was totally cool with them going away that wasn't obvious. But at the end of the day, whatever they went with in lieu of the obvious needed to be better. And what they went with was not better. It was just felt made up on the spot at the end. That's my big thing with the sequels. Like, I actually really like 7 and 8 quite a bit. And it's only whenever I take 9 into account that the whole thing comes down for me. I think that's how a lot of people felt about Return of the Jedi. And I was a kid. Return of the Jedi was like my kid Star Wars movie. So it's perfect. Like it
yeah, mine too.
I know it does all kinds of bad things. But Return of the Jedi, I'm just like, this what we're talking about is fucking great. Everything about Return of the Jedi is great. I can't see it in a bad light. It's just everything about it's great to me. But so I guess that's how that some of those people who don't like Return of the Jedi feel. But
now you know how I feel about Back to the Future 2.
Hey, fuck you, buddy. Biff's Pleasure Palace Paradise. I mean, that's
because of the last 5 years. Yeah, I get it, but it's
it was fun until we lived.
Marty McFly playing all of his kids is not good. It's not good.
I love Bizarro 85, man. I think it's genius.
No. Uncle Jailbird Joey should have rescued him in the shit universe.
Yeah, he should have. They should have had Uncle Jailbird Joey look like Biff, and Biff should have got to play 2 roles, and he should have been the McFly who they really like embraced.
Can you imagine if Luke Skywalker, if Mark Hamill also played his kids, and then Harrison Ford's playing an uncle just because they won't cast new people? Yeah, it's all weird. Weird.
So Santa says, I was always raised a nobody person, still am. Never bought into Han, Luke, or other theories. Well, see,
you got that movie, Star Wars, Santa.
So here's the thing is, at the time, like when you hear like Palpatine was always the story, that's like true from a certain point of view, because the Rey, Solo, and Kenobi things, those were like all on the table. There were different camps who had different takes on all of that. So in terms of those theories, everybody was just as right and wrong as anybody else. And then you get to what Rian decided to do. Personally, I am much more about what Rian wanted to do, because I think it's a better story to teach kids that you can be better than your parents. It actually, I think, thematically pushes the idea Return of the Jedi, the love between the father and the son is what saves them. But at the end of the day, it pushes that concept further and says, you can save yourself and you can be better than your parents. And that's more of a story I think more kids need to hear than don't worry, you're secretly a prince, or don't worry, you're secretly a princess, because you're not. And so if you want to talk about like social change through storytelling and stuff like that, and pushing some kind of political agenda, but that is where you do it. That is where you say, yeah, you know what? Not everybody is royalty in their background, but that doesn't mean you can't change the world. Like that, the idea in Willow, when the High Eldwin asked Willow, which finger has the power to control all the world or to change the world or whatever it is. And then Willow's like, oh, that one, but he knows it's his own hand. That is the fucking, like, that's the moment right there. And that was the sequel trilogy's like moment for something like that. Unfortunately, it obviously wasn't picked up, and they didn't go anywhere with it. Just kidding. You are a Sith princess or something.
They missed the mark. The moment was supposed to be where Palpatine offers her the throne, and then to get her power hungry, but it didn't sell for me.
Because he looked like a butthole. He looked like
you don't introduce new characters in the third act, dude. Like, it's just.
But there should have been. There was no seduction. He should have looked like normal Palpatine. He should have been grandpa, like what Ezra Bridger gets. When Ezra Bridger meets Palpatine, he looks like
the nicest guy ever.
Palpatine. He's like, "Hey, it's me, Grandpa Palp, with the good hair."
He's got the perm. He's got the perm going on
with the fluff. And I mean, there should have been some kind of seduction. He's like, instead, she's like, "No, you're like clearly, obviously, really evil and fucking. You smell like a Rancor's asshole. I'm not going to join you. Like, this is so obvious." There was absolutely like no seduction of Rey. Like with Luke, he's like, I always wanted a dad. And he's like, hey, son, we're going to rule the galaxy together as father and son. And
well, the temptation wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was Rey's temptation? Like her dream of her with like bad teeth, but looking hotter? I don't know.
I mean, it was
if there was a thing in the third film, hold on. If there was a thing in that film where Ben Solo has got the First Order, they can't ever fucking win. They don't know what to do. Exegol seems to be a thing defined for whatever reason. They get there, and all these she thinks they're trying to find Palpatine, but when she gets there, she's Palpatine. All those people there then kneel before her. Now she has an army. Do I accept this? You see what I mean? They're looking for Palpatine because it's her. When she arrives there, then that's when she finds out who she is. They all worship. They've been waiting for her to arrive. You know what I mean? Like, they see her Sith or presence or aura or whatever shit they know. You know what I mean? And then she can reject that offer of power. Like, there has to be another way.
Kurt Cobain was from Aberdeen, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Or they flood the planet in the last act, and she leads everyone out with some flares, and she helps some kids, and the National Guard shows up, and
great
we're
movie.
all happy.
Really good movie.
Yeah,
great resolution.
Yeah,
perfect.
Well, I still think when Rey got there, it should have been a Brewster's Million situation. She has to spend 6 million Sith troopers in 3 days, or she doesn't get the Empire. How's she going to do it?
Nobody can replace John Candy, Jason. Nobody.
I don't know. I think the power of deep fake and Daisy Ridley as John Candy, we can do it.
No one's acting prowess has come close.
David says Daisy sitting next to Kathleen Kennedy in an Asian interview said she was a character that was solitary on a desert planet, so that so many people thought she messed up and was Solo's daughter. Yeah, I mean there was so many like back and forths and things that they didn't make up their mind. So like when you look at all of it, it is all there because it was all leaving it open for whatever they wanted to like do. Hey, Obi-Wan the homies is here. This is what happens when you retcon a MacGuffin and cover it up with nostalgia. Deadpool voice, lazy story writing. Yeah. I think, you know what though, dude? I don't want to
retcon a MacGuffin. Let's make that the name of an album.
Retcon MacGuffin. I think that's going to be my new pen name. I'm Retcon MacGuffin. I'm here to solve a Star Wars mystery.
Bro, that's your alternate ego on the internet. We were talking about fake accounts and Retcon MacGuffin
today. I'm going to shut down Bestman Bulletin today and do everything else as Retcon MacGuffin.
It's a super positive show that loves the prequels, never argues with their audience.
No, what I will say, dude, is I honestly though, like knowing what goes on behind the scenes a little bit at times. I've had my peek behind the curtain a few times. There's no one lazy. There's like no one getting like the fucking check and then going out and then just like fucking going on vacation and then turning in the homework the day before it's due. Like,
only on the Matrix films.
Matrix film, that might have been what happened. Yeah, most likely.
I really think they should look into the money on that
film. What's her name? What's her name? Who made the last one? What's her
Lana
name?
Wachowski.
I think Lana may have just taken the studio notes and just put them all into a script and made it. At the end of the day,
I love. So people know I love Cloud Atlas. I think it's the most underrated film of the last 20 years. Seriously, it's really great. But the Matrix, that someone blew that money on on Applebee's and didn't tell anybody.
Jason says J.J. Abrams is a half-cooked Spielberg. There, I said it. I kind of feel like I hope I'm wrong, but we are hitting that point where I feel like Abrams' career is beginning to look very defined. Not expecting there to be a huge upset coming from Abrams. I hope I'm wrong, but it does seem like there was always a playbook that he understood for how to do things, and that how to do things maybe wasn't coming from a place of creativity and the creative impulse, as they say, as much of I understand this industry and how it works. I understand nerds and how they work. And I think that's more of where he comes from than being like a Spielberg who's just like a weird burst of creative energy for a long time.
He writes. Yeah. He's not a writer. Rian Johnson is a writer. Seriously, like when you read the scripts to his films, like he's a writer. Like Knives Out 2, 3, like he has things he wants to write and make. And if Star Wars ain't in the plan, he'll do other shit. Looper, Brothers Bloom, Brick. He's a writer. Yeah. JJ's not conjuring up new shit for JJ to always do. He's attaching himself to projects that he can produce and put a name together and to get more leverage to get other projects to produce. That's what he's doing. He's closer to like a music producer, than a movie.
Best case scenario would have been Rian Johnson and JJ go out to Joshua Tree. They do some mushrooms. They bond as brothers, and then decide you're going to direct and I'm going to write, and I'll direct the second one. That way you could have a rest, and then you'll come in on the third one. Like, yeah, they did something like that from the very start. That of course would have worked, but I think what you had was, I do remember there being like, it's a little bit overblown, but there was like a lot of weird tension between like Lucasfilm sort of handing over Star Wars to Bad Robot. And Bad Robot's like, we're our own thing. We do our own thing. We're like, well, we're Lucasfilm. And so you had two companies that like, they weren't at war. They were working together, but it wasn't like that sexy, but it also like there's a way of making that machine kind of work, And in a weird way, I think the big attractive part about episode 9 was when it came to doing that with somebody else who they may have had to have had that same kind of relationship with. They already had that with Bad Robot. And I think that was a big reason, why it went the way that it did. And then Grammar Rodeo is a Joel Jensen. Good shot, Jensen. Sorry, that's Jensen. But what's Grammar Rodeo? Grammar Rodeo is rumored to be a sort of like Ghostbusters Afterlife. We got 4 kids that are about 12 years old, and they're going on a space adventure. And so there you go. It's nobody really knows though. So that's all rumor and conjecture and casting implications and things like that. But literally the breakdown of the cast fits 1-to-1 with Ghostbusters Afterlife. Just gonna throw that out there. It does. So
if a movie series needed to be a TV series before the next film, it's that one.
Yeah.
Like I just want to hang out with those kids while they're aging for like a good 6 to 8 episodes, and then do the next movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
so David says elite proven directors are scared, hesitant, don't want to make Star Wars films. And like that's that one right there is like somewhat true. And we've seen it, but it's also like Gareth Edwards came in and was I think they were on the right path for that one. But then I think he understood that he wasn't directing a movie, he was making a movie by committee in that time, especially. But
it was a safe film. It was a safe story to make, in my opinion.
Yeah, the way it ties in. But when they started doing it, it wasn't going to be. They was going to like literally break genre. It was going to be like, we're not doing Star Wars as a genre. We're going to put Star Wars into other genres. And then they rolled it back after they started doing it. They're like, whoa. We want a Star Wars movie because there's a opportunity here to make $1 billion. And
that was the heist. It was the heist thing, the Ocean's 8 thing, right?
Yeah. I think, it's like, Ocean's 11 and Star Wars kind of thing. The way that they were probably talking about it internally.
Ocean's 66, Jason.
Ocean 66. Ocean's 1138. But
I could see that being a
book.
Like Grammar Rodeo, like a code word.
Oh, right.
What is Ocean's 1138?
Called Order 69, like the sexiest Star Wars production of all time.
Nice.
But anyways,
get it at Taco Bell.
I
Order 69.
I don't really agree with. I don't really think Star Wars is going to get its best from proven directors. Proven directors have already proved themselves, and now all they are going to really do is prove that they don't fuck up a Star Wars. And that's where
I brought this one up earlier, because that's what I was saying. Like if they do an episode of Star Wars on TV, they're not responsible for the whole production, right? Yeah. If they direct a singular film with a giant marketing campaign and that doesn't live up to your expectation of this film, then you hate that director. Yeah. Like, this is the weird. So that's why I was like, if they could find a way to bridge the TV with the movie, with the TV with the movie, then it takes the pressure off. If the movie isn't perfect, then we can solve it back on the TV and then build up to another movie. The problem is when they expect this movie to be everything you remember your childhood to be, one shot in a film. You know, maybe you could do it. Even then, look, I'm already now starting to see people with the Batman thing go, man, we're just going to get the same fucking characters for the next 3 Batman films, aren't we? You know, like you just figured that one out. Like you know, this is great. This is wonderful, right? When we're never going to get any other characters because they keep rebooting this, and the people who come on will just go with the proven character that always gets you an Oscar nomination. There have been more live action Jokers than Batmans in the last 20 years. You know that?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Yeah. Yeah, because you had, live action Batman's Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, right? Let's say in the last 10 years. So you got Bale, Ben Affleck, Pattinson,
10.
Right?
And 10.
Then you got Ledger, you got Jared Leto, you got Keon, is the dude cut from the fucking film. Right. You got Joaquin Phoenix. You know what I mean?
I forgot about Joaquin. Yeah.
You got a whole movie called Joker, my friend.
Okay.
Got his whole movie.
Ray J says they had Ewan McGregor voice cameo in Force Awakens for a reason. Funny story is the first time I ever saw Ewan McGregor in person was actually at the Solo premiere. And I was like, kind of like a person there told me, yeah, we took a bunch of pictures with Ewan today for a reason. And that was sort of like a tip off of, hey, we're doing this Kenobi stuff. So they actually brought him out and did the pictures of him with all of the people. So that way they could start getting ready to promote Kenobi, a Star Wars story that never ever happened. And that was why that actually happened, in case anybody was ever wondering. But we are going to call this one a show now because
we gotta go play Kirby.
My kids wanna. Well, I gotta pick up my daughter from school pretty soon, and my kid wants to play Fortnite.
I gotta play this. I gotta play this.
What are you playing?
Ghostwire
Oh,
Tokyo.
Ghostwire.
Yeah. And I gotta play.
alright.
I got Tiny
What's you
Tina's
playing?
Wonderlands too. It's like Borderlands spinoff for PS5.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It's no Kirby though. No mouthful mode. New York.
Enjoy your mouthful. Go have a whole mouthful.
Goddamn right I am.
Matter of fact, swallow a car. Do that.
Huh? You and Joel Williamson just got on the same page.
You and Joel. Thanks everybody for being a channel member and all that. Thanks for hanging out with us today, Mike.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love this show. I was happy to be a part of it today.
Yeah, dude. Anytime
Thanks
you
for the
wanna come,
Wonderful
hang
Saul
out.
Rosenberg.
Oh,
Saul
thank you. No, thank you. Oh, and baby Jesus.
It's perfect. It's just perfect. It's perfect. It's not
All right, everyone. We will
Thank
today's
you.
Friday. Yeah. We'll see you guys on Monday. All right. We sure we think it's Friday. We think it's Friday. It's
Monday.
Friday.
When Jason he'll just spoil the next trilogy of stuff, and then we'll get 400 views.
Nice.
Yeah. Bye.
It's not about spaceships. It's not about